Hello, readers of Every Word, and welcome to Every Word 365. I'm your host, Christina Munoz-Madsen, and today we're reading Joshua 13 through 17. I know, today's reading was probably not the most exciting, unless you're a fan of land assignments and details of borders. That being said, I want to share some other thoughts that have come up recently from several of you. But first, the story of Caleb. We read about Caleb in Numbers when his strong faith in God allowed him to be one of two people, the other being Joshua, to get to live in the promised land. The faithfulness of Joshua and Caleb teaches us that we are to stand for God even when others will not. When we do, God may choose to bless us in ways that will extend our generations to come. What a blessing to be that. I'm curious if any of you have ever had to do that, to stand for God even when others will not. And that can be hard, especially if it's a lot of people, or if you're in a group of people. To be the only one that does is asking a lot and is difficult. But with God, all things are possible. Now, on to the concern of God being quote unquote mean throughout our readings. I know I've shared Isaiah 55:8 many times. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. But I wanted to share something else today. Years ago, Oprah was bothered by this kind of harshness, and at the age of 27, she decided to turn away from her Baptist upbringing because she didn't like the idea of God being a jealous God. Now, I will say the meaning of that word has changed a bit since biblical times. It's a very positive thing. It's like your husband should be jealous of a wife because the wife is the man's in marriage, and the woman shouldn't be doing certain things with other men. Jealousy can be good. So she also didn't like that the Bible says that the only way to God is through Jesus. That, of course, is in John 14:6. Not only did she turn away, but she has millions of followers because what she says/believes feels better than some of what we're reading. By the way, her ratings decline was attributed in part to this. I find that interesting as a former TV news journalist. Well, this may sound harsh, but I would much rather follow the Son of God than a talk show host. Anyone else? And I apologize if you're a fan of hers. She's done some great things, but this issue is of too much importance to me to be taken so lightly. See if this video from author John Piper helps. If you're not familiar with him, he's very passionate, so it's very entertaining, but he's so right when you really stop and think about it. So I'm including a YouTube link to that video. Also, after the curses and blessings part, someone shared how difficult it is to read about honoring their mother and father because they had been abused as a child. Here's my response, and I certainly hope it helps those of you who are or have been dealing with that same struggle. While we are required to honor parents, that doesn't include imitating ungodly ones. If a parent ever instructs a child to do something that clearly contradicts God's commands, that child must obey God rather than his or her parents. And I've got a link from Got Questions about how to honor abusive parents from Got Questions, and it is so good. I encourage everybody to read it, even if this isn't something they struggle with. You may know someone that has struggled with this or is struggling with this. So I encourage you, please read every word of that because it is so good. And as always, let me know your thoughts. You can send me an email. You can join our Facebook group. I love knowing what jumps out to you and making this a community and not just a book we're reading through. Tomorrow is Joshua 18 through 21. Happy reading. This episode is brought to you by Travel with Friends. Europe is filled with heritage and culture and has beautiful scenery. Italy is home to some of the world's iconic art, architecture, and cuisine. Ireland has beautiful landscapes. Scotland is rich in heritage. England shares the origin of the Protestant Methodist faith. From the coast to the capital, Greece is filled with amazing cuisine and abundant history. Travel with us and experience the best of Europe. Just give us a call at 501-379-9226 or email friends@travelwithfriends.com or click the link in the podcast description and let us make your travel dreams come true.